I'm very happy to announce that I have finally hit my goal of no pan left behind in all of my eyeshadow collection this year. And I did it in less than 10 months. So I'm very happy. I'm actually filming this on the 24th of October. And I did the last two eyeshadows today. I will show you those in a second. And I'm done. So that is kind of true, but not really. But I will tell you all about that in a second. If you're new here, my name is Anna and I do a lot of project planning on this video, and I had a goal this year to reach for absolutely all of my eyeshadows and put them on my eyes at least once this year. I did this last year as well, and then I did it in less than 4 months actually. But this year I have been panning a lot of eyeshadows as well, and I just haven't had the time to do a new look every single day. But this year I did it in 10 months. So yeah, I'm very happy about that. And that means that I have 2 months now where I can just use whatever I like. I can focus in on the eyeshadows in my panning project that I'm not done with yet, and then I can start using these for the second or third or 10th time. Some of them I've used a lot more than once. Some of them I've only just touched. So I'm looking forward to using some of them again without having the kind of panic that I need to use the eyeshadows that I haven't used yet. Because it's been, I love this project, but it is a little bit stressful having to think about all of the eyeshadows that I haven't used yet. And I will show you the spreadsheet where I track all of my eyeshadows. And I also put all of my eyeshadows in front of me so that I can show you them one by one, tell you how it was to no pan left behind it. It's gonna be a long video, I think, but it's gonna be a fun one. So over here, I'm going to put a screen recording right now. I just need to press the screen record button. So here we are. This is what it looks like. Green background on the eyeshadows means that the palette is done, no pan left behind, and the dots represent the month that I used it for the first time, or the only time in some cases. So starting with my only two single eyeshadows, or eyeshadows that are not in palettes, I have my two Hourglass Scattered Lights eyeshadows. These are getting kind of old, and I feel like now that I haven't used them that much this year because I've been focusing on so many other things, but now I'm finally going to use these some more. But I used the first one in January actually, and then the one that is my favorite, Reflect, I didn't reach for until May, which is surprising to me. And then I used it on a bride this summer as well. So I've used that one several times after May, but it surprises me that I waited all the way until May to use it for the first time. And then I have, where do I have all of these palettes? I have the Almar Cosmetics Rain Little Caribbean palette, and I used pretty much all of this in the first month, and then in the summer I finished the rest of these. They are very like summery shades. And I feel like the red dots and the purple dots, I think those are two different looks. And then Lacoste and El Malcon, I used those in January because they are in my Panels Eyeshadows project. So a lot of the purple dots are eyeshadows that I tried to pan on this year. Same with my Colourpop palette. This has, okay, there are some eyeshadows missing in here now. I'm not really sure what happened here, but I've taken some of them out. And the eyeshadow that I skipped some. Let me just rewind. So first of all, these eyeshadows that are from the Color Drain Queen of Hearts palette, that are eyeshadows that I depotted. I waited a long time to use these. And I remember not really feeling inspired to use them, but I did use all of them eventually. It's just not something I really wanted to use, but I did use all 6 of them, And then from my Colourpop palette that I was talking about, Hear Me Out, the purple dot, is because it was in my Pandas Eyeshadows project, so I painted that one quite early. And then the other ones also, I focused on other things, but still it was just not something that I really wanted to use. So I've used them here and there. They are okay. One of the last ones I did use was actually the very bright orange. I used that one in a look very recently. I don't know, it's nothing wrong with them, but it's just not, they're not favorites. And then the two palettes where my eyeshadow today comes from, it's the California Love palette, but mine looks very different than the normal one. And the eyeshadow I used today, the last eyeshadow, is Diego, which is a gold one. And I have that in the inner part of my lid today. I don't know. These are eyeshadows that, even though I made my own color story and I love it, I just forget about them a little bit, I guess. And the other eyeshadow I have on my lid today is the one from Lush Life, which is not from this palette at all. It's a Franken eyeshadow actually, which looks like this. Can I focus? So it's actually a very nice turquoise shade with like a gold sparkle in it. But I haven't felt like using it this year at all. And this was one of those that I had to put it in a plan for, like, these are the eyeshadows I'm going to use. And that was what I did for the whole of October actually. To be able to finish this, I needed to put all of it in a system so that I would see, okay, tomorrow I'm going to use this one, and this one. And then I just paired them together, tried to make it all work with the eyeshadows that I still have left. So it was basically just the eyeshadows that I had for some reason postponed using. This was one of them. And I know, I'm not sure that Franken eyeshadow will survive a declutter that I'm doing. I haven't really decided yet. So yeah, you can see that on the dots as well. It's just later on in the year. They were not eyeshadows that I felt like using. And then I have a small palette. Where is it? Oh, here it is. It's a Colourpop palette, and there's actually one shade missing because I have it in my like everyday eyeshadow palette. It's the white one, and that was the eyeshadow that I used in January because I discovered that I like white matte eyeshadows more than I thought I did. The other ones I struggled with a lot, and I used all of them this month. Isn't orange or last month? Anything? Yeah, orange is October. So all of these were eyeshadows. There are two Franken eyeshadows in here, and then there's a matte like baby blue and a very dark brown that I don't really care about much. I had to really force myself to use this, which is not great. And then I have this Colourpop quad. It would be perfect for summer, and I did use some of these eyeshadows earlier on, but I had to use the two matte shades. No, the dark brown and the silver. I had to kind of force myself to use a little bit. The blue is very pretty, but it's just not something I use, at least not more than once in a year. And then one of my newer palettes. This is my Colourpop Mandalorian palette. I used all of these eyeshadows in the first month that I got this palette. I was very excited, so I just used all of them all at once. And then the very big palette that I got around the same time, which also was from Colourpop, the Pokemon one. I struggled a bit more with these. Some of them are very easy, but some of them are kind of hard. And surprisingly, some of the eyeshadows that I found harder to use is this very light gold. Should be an easy one, but I wasn't that interested, I guess. This red one, I Choose You. It was one of the eyeshadows when I saw the palette that I thought, oh, that is very pretty. But actually just used that one like a couple of days ago, which surprised me a lot. But it's a very fun palette. I'm looking forward to reaching for this one in the spring and summer, because I think being August, September, like August was a nice month to use it, but it's just not a fall palette. Obviously, you can see that. And then I have my Dose of Colors Friendcation palette. This was one that I didn't even pull it out. I don't know, I think I had it in a drawer, maybe even at my parents' house. And I used all of these shades in September and October, and it's been one that I have considered decluttering for a while now because it's getting so old. There are some very pretty shades in here. I love the blue. And I did a very nice look using the green one. But, and I actually used I don't think I have a picture of that, but I used this like dirty green one. It's called Dirty Money. And I used it with the next palette on the list, the e.l.f. Bite Size Jalapeno palette. This first shade, because I was really struggling with this one. I used all of the other ones in a look in February actually, but the like yellowy one, I was just not feeling it. So I used that one with the green one in here, and I really like that look. So it was a surprise. It was like a good surprise. Sometimes you just have those. And then all of my Huda Beauty palettes, I feel like these are kind of easy. I had a lot of these in my Panels eyeshadows, like at least one shade from every palette. So the Huda Beauty Emerald Obsessions, I was done with that in March. Easy. Topaz Obsessions, I struggled with a little bit more. It's just not, it's not my favorite out of all of them, but it's very pretty. So that one was more like scattered around, and I used the last one in September. My Ruby Obsessions, oops, I was finished using every shade in February. I used this as like a Valentine's palette a little bit. And then my Nude Lights, I've used a lot more than once, all of these shades this year. But it also took me a bit of time to reach for all of these shades actually. But I think I had a plan of being done with that one, No Pan Left Behind, in June when I was bringing it with me on vacation. So maybe that's why. And then last but not least, my Gold Obsessions also took me quite a while. I was just not focusing on that in the beginning of the year. But there are some shades that I reached for already in January with all of these. And I have one more Huda Beauty palette. Where is it? I have the Rose Quartz palette. If I have been showing any palettes like over on the side behind the screen recording, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do that anymore. The Rose Quartz palette, I bought this one in February and I finished No Pan Left Behind in March. I love this palette. And I also am trying to pan some of the eyeshadows in here this year. So it was no problem using all those eyeshadows in 2 months. The Zulu palette, on the other hand, I waited until the summer to reach for these because they are super bright, which was a good thing. I don't love this yellow, so I have to force myself to use that one, but I do like all the other shades. They're just not everyday shades. But it was perfect reaching for this one in the summer months where I had some time off. Didn't have to go to work with like this color combo down here and these turquoisey ones. But yeah, it's a very fun palette, at least for summer. The Juvia's Place Garden of Juvia's, which I bought last year, also just the spring palette in my opinion. And I used all of these shades in 2 of them in February, but the rest of them I used in March, which was the time where I was really like, I want to do bright pastel cute looks. So I did, and it was very easy to reach for all of those shades. I have a very big palette with, I feel like I'm just going through these really quickly and I forget to breathe. Sorry about that. My Lethal eyeshadows. These are just a collection of Lethal singles. And I had a plan on very much. Yeah, I had a plan on using all of these in May. I didn't quite reach that goal. I had a couple left. I know I talked about that in one of my other updates, but some of them I just used here and there. 2 of them were in my Pandas eyeshadows, and then most of the rest of them I used in May when I was planning on using this one. But it's a very colorful palette, as you can see, so it's not the easiest shades. It's only like these 6 that are kind of neutral, and the rest is super colorful. So you need to kind of either tone them down with something else or just go with a very bright look, but that would be on the weekends for my type of job. My kids that I work with love my eye makeup, but it can be too much, I think. Then I have my MAC eyeshadows. I have a palette with 12 MAC eyeshadows. I absolutely love these, but they are kind of easy to forget about because they are just staple eyeshadows, very easy to use. I picked out all of these shades myself and purchased them as singles, so I know I love them, but they can be like a bit boring, maybe, with all the other very sparkly shades. So some of them I finished, like I did use them very early on. Some of them I waited a little bit, and yeah, it's just one of those where I'm not super excited to use them, but I know I can count on them. You know what I mean? That type of eyeshadow formula and the eyeshadow like colors as well. And I have and then I have one more MAC, just a quad, and I also had to really focus on using this one. And I think one of the reasons some of them have been neglected in the first half of the year, and then I suddenly remember like, oh, I need to use these. Some of it might be because they're getting a little bit older, and I just postpone it because I don't feel like using it because it's getting a little bit older. I'm a little bit weird like that. I've noticed that I hesitate to use eyeshadows that are older, but I have this goal, so I need to use them at some point, and they're just getting older and older. So if I had just used like that one and the Those Colors one in January, it would have been less old than using it now. But I don't know. That was just something I thought of right now. Moving on to another MAC eyeshadow palette. I have this one that I've talked about a lot because it's in my Pandas eyeshadows, and I had to go to hit pan in a lot of these eyeshadows this year also, and a palette that is getting older, and I used all of them in January. I had a goal to no pan left behind this in January, and I did no problem at all. I love the formula of these MAC eyeshadows, and they're just very easy eyeshadows to use. And I also had so many of them that I was trying to hit pan on, so it was just an easy palette to reach for. My melt palette, my only melt palette, is the Smoke Sessions, and I realized that this is just a palette that I struggle, even though I love green eyeshadow, I just struggle with this one a bit. There are some that I really like, but the only 2 mattes are really dark, and I don't love the 2 shades on the end. So it's just something that I don't know, I just don't feel like it most days. But some days I will definitely want a like dark grungy green, and then if I do, that's the perfect palette, but it took a while to use all of those shades, as you can see. And then I have a mini Natasha Denona palette. I don't actually have that with me. It's the mini Sendo, but I used all of those shades in January and March, and I have it at my parents' house. If I ever forget eyeshadow while I'm going there for the weekend, that never happens, but if it did for some reason, I would have the Natasha Denona mini Sendo to apply to my eyes. Then we have my Natasha Denona palettes. I'm just gonna go through this quite quickly because I have actually removed most of the eyeshadows in here and put them in a, I might as well show you. I put them in a new magnetic palette that I got, which is just a very nice magnetic palette. And these are eyeshadows that I'm very excited to use more now that I'm done with this project. So I've kind of picked out some favorites from my 3 Natasha Denona palettes, put them in here, and I'm going to use them a lot more. So I have my, I need to do this in the right order. The I Need a Nude, used all of those in January. It was a newer palette to me, and it was just very easy to use all of the shades, and it's just so neutral and just nice. It was perfect for January. My Dream palette took me a little bit longer because I knew that I wanted to save some of the shades for like fall season, and I did, and some of them just worked perfectly when the weather got colder, so I used those in September, the last 4 shades. And then my newest, I think, the Retro Glam palette, I used all the shades in January and February, and it was also the perfect palette. It has some pinks and the green shades, and I'm very much looking forward to using this one more in the spring next year as well. Now it's time for my Odin's Eye palettes. I have 3 of them. First one is my Elva eyeshadow palette. I had a couple of shades I wanted to hit pan on in here, I think. Didn't I? Yeah. But I hit pan on those quite early on in the year. So I did use all of these in January, February, and the 2 last ones in March, which was my goal. So it's just a very like cutesy color story, very pink. Hate the yellow matte. That is the case for all yellow mattes. It's the same one with the next palette, which is the Angelica Nyquist Little Ghost palette. This yellow matte. I just really need to force myself, and that is one of the reasons I'm doing this project, because I need to force myself to use eyeshadows that I wouldn't, and maybe at some point I will find a way that I like using them. So I don't want to just skip using them because I'm scared of them, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I used some of them early on, and then in March I decided I wanted to use all of them, and I did, no problem. But the Snow Dream palette, which is newer, so I got it in, I want to say August, July, August, somewhere around that time. So it only took me 3 months to use all of the shades, but I cannot believe it took me so long to use some of them. I was just postponing again. And when I finally used the last shade this week, which was this one down here, which is called Tradition, I loved my eyeshadow look. And I think I have a picture. I will show you that in the end of the video if you are interested in that. Because this is a beautiful palette, and I'm so glad I got it this year. I have a quad with some Sigma eyeshadows that I got in, some Sigma eyeshadows that I have depotted into MAC single pans because they were in the Sigma Enchanted palette, and I decluttered that palette, but I kept 5 eyeshadows. These are only 4 of them because I could only fit 4. So I just kind of saved my favorites and decluttered the rest of the palette. And I used the last one, Metamorphosis. is that how you pronounce it? Metamorphosis. The like blue-green shimmer. I used that one this month. And it's nice. It's not amazing, but it's nice. It's just one that I haven't been excited about, and I just had to force myself to use it by the end of this project. And then I have the other half of this Colourpop palette, which are these eyeshadows from a brand called Technic. There are 6 shades. Some of them were easy to use. I hated the gold. It was so flaky. I used it on Sunday, I think, just because I had to use it, and I did my makeup just to use it, and I don't like that. Even though my boyfriend said my makeup looked nice, I didn't feel like it did. And I also actually decluttered the red one because it stained my fingertips and the skin on my hands so badly when I went to swatch it that I just decided I don't want to put this on my eyes. So that's the only eyeshadow I have decluttered before using it at least once. I'm going to have a massive, no, not massive, I'm exaggerating. I'm gonna have a big declutter coming up where I get rid of some of these eyeshadow palettes and eyeshadows, but I wanted to use them at least once before I did that. Except for the red one, because I'm not gonna have stained eyelids. Nope, not gonna happen. So I took that one out of the eyeshadow list. My Too Faced sparkling pineapple palette, I used all the shades in March, and I used this one a lot this summer because I had some eyeshadows to pat on. Very easy to use, nice palette, getting older, but who cares. And then my Urban Decay Born to Run palette, I've talked about this so many times. My Urban Decay Born to Run is one of those palettes that I decided to not use because it was getting older. And then I just went on with my life. I still didn't use it, and then suddenly, I talked about this in an update also, that I just suddenly decided now's the time. I need to no pen left behind this entire palette and just see what I feel about it, because in the beginning of the year I wanted to pan in some eyeshadows in here, and I suddenly quickly realized that I don't want to spend too much time on this when it's getting this old. And using all of these eyeshadows, I just find them okay. They're kind of lackluster. Some of them are quite nice. I did do some nice looks with it, but it's just not something I'm excited to use anymore, even though I still love the palette. It's like dear to my heart. It's very nostalgic, but there is just not eyeshadows that I feel the need to put on my eyes anymore. So I've talked about decluttering this for a very long time, and spoiler, I will declutter this before the end of the year. And I'm probably not going to use it more before I do either. I've used all the shades at least once, and now I know. The last 2 palettes are the Urban Decay Naked Honey, which was decluttered to me by a good friend. She sent me a picture and asked me if I wanted it, and I had always wanted this palette, so I said yes, of course. And I used all of these shades in September and last 2 ones in October, and love it. I cannot wait to use this more now that I can. And then the last one is my What's Up Beauty palette. And I used all of these shades quite early on as well, but I haven't reached for this one, I don't think, at all, since I used all of them once early on in the year, which means it's time to use this some more. I don't know why I don't use this more, but it's just one of those that I do a no pen left behind, but I'm not. I need that incentive to use it, or else I forget about it. So that is kind of interesting. So this means that in September I had used 372 out of 411 eyeshadows, which was a percentage of 90.51, so I was very close. And then in October I finished using the last 38 eyeshadows, which means with one eyeshadow I want eyeshadow decluttered. I have used now 410 out of my 410 eyeshadows that I just showed you, which is 100%. But that's actually a lie because I have more new eyeshadows. I'm still calling this my finale just because I kind of finished what I said I wanted to do. But I did get some new eyeshadow palettes that I have not used yet. So I'm very excited to start grabbing these now, and I know that I will get through these 3 palettes in the last 2 months of the year. Like, it will probably just take me 2 weeks, and I will update you on that in a video at some point. But I feel so done with doing the updates for my Notepad Left Behind that I'm just not gonna do it for these last 3 ones. So I'm sorry if you wanted to see that, but I've just decided. So one of the eyeshadow palettes that I got this one pre-loved, and the girl I bought it from said that she got it for Christmas last year, so I thought I was going to get one of the newer ones with magnetic pans. That was not the case, so I'm a little bit annoyed. And I checked the batch code, and these are actually quite old. So I've had this one before. It's the Tartelette in Bloom, if I didn't say that. And I'm gonna use all of them, but I'm not sure how long I will keep the palette, if it starts changing or anything like that. When I had it the last time, I did use it a lot and I missed it. I just didn't want to purchase it from the Tarte website, so when I saw someone selling it for a good price, I just thought, why not? And then I probably shouldn't have done that, but oh well, I did. The other palette that I bought is the Revolution The True Icon palette, which I have heard so many good things about, and I really wanted to try it. I've only swatched a couple of the like shimmery metallic shades. They look so pretty. So I'm bringing this with me, I think, for this weekend because it's my birthday weekend, and I might want to use that one on my birthday, I think. We'll see. I'm gonna bring it and then we'll see. And then the last thing is something that is just so nostalgic and crazy to me, and it's the Urban Decay Naked palette. I was going back and forth a lot whether or not I should buy this because I have so many eyeshadows. I don't need this palette, but I just couldn't help it. And I will show you a little clip of what my old palette that I got in 2011. So that's 13 years ago. I got my first one, and it's the first like proper eyeshadow palette and like proper makeup item, I think, that I bought. I bought it in Sephora in France. It was just such a big moment for me. It's crazy to talk about makeup like that, but it was really when my big makeup interest started. So it just feels kind of like I've come full circle getting this one again and using it for my birthday, I think, probably. And then I can use this one on Saturday and then use this one on Sunday, which is actually my birthday. So I'm turning 30, which is kind of big, and it's just, it feels nice to be able to use this again so many years after the last time I had it. Well, I'm growing it all up, and I still have this palette, and I haven't even touched this at all. I haven't swatched it or anything. So it's, oops, absolutely brand new. Oh, I've taken it out of the box several times just to look at it. So I'm gonna keep it in the box until my birthday, and I'm gonna open it and use it for the first time on Sunday, I think. Those are my 3 new palettes. I'm going to show you a couple of eyeshadow looks, but I'm going to be quick because this video is already way too long. But I have the pictures, so let me just show you some eye looks that I did. There aren't as many as I thought it was, but starting with this purple look, I have no idea what this is. I think it must be purple. Ooh, it might be from my ColourPop. No, it's not. I don't remember what this is, so I don't know why I'm showing it to you. But I liked it, so probably why I'm showing it to you. I think actually it could be this purple one over here from my Pokemon palette. If I figure it out, I'm gonna write it on the screen right now, but I actually don't remember what this is. It's very nice. Could this be? Oh, I remember now. It's not the one up here, it's this one down here. Definitely, and I think I used some of these eyeshadows. So yeah, it's the Pokemon palette. That was in the beginning of September. Very nice. I love purple eyeshadow. And then one of the looks that I did with my Urban Decay Naked Honey, just a very yellowy gold type of look, but I did really enjoy it. And they are so buttery and nice, those eyeshadows. So yeah, that's the first one. And then the second one, I think, yeah, this is also from the Urban Decay Naked Honey, but it's more of the like last shades in the palette. So the first one was more of these yellowy ones, and this is this section right here. Very warm toned, very fall appropriate. And I like that one as well. Just a neutral everyday look. And then there's a green eyeshadow look. I want to say I used this green eyeshadow from the Sigma Enchanted palette, dark green, very shimmery one. And I also used this, oh no, I did use the dark green from the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, and I used this green from the Pokemon palette. I don't know what's in the crease. Something like warm. But I do also love green eyeshadow. And then I know there's more. This is October 5th. I thought there would be more looks, but those were all that I had. So if you enjoyed, I hope you will subscribe. This is going to be my last No Pun Left Behind video this year, but I'm going to continue wrapping up some other projects. And also, when I finish this entire year, I'm going to have a eyeshadow statistics video where I talk to you about my Pandos eyeshadows numbers, my No Pun Left Behind numbers, my new eyeshadows in and decluttered, and how many new pans, and just everything in one video. And I'm very excited to do that, so I hope you stick around to see that if you're interested in eyeshadow content and like numbers and stuff. And yeah, that's everything. I hope you liked, and if you did, hit the like button, and I will hopefully see you later. Bye!